You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. This is our station, Boo, where we explore the dark and mysterious corners of the world of horror, and we know that you are dying to listen.
And welcome to the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing our haunted host with the most emos. We have our lovely Lisa.
Hello, groovy ghoulies.
We have our kick-ass Karen.
Hello, my horrorholics.
And I am your spooky Shannon. So welcome to Earth Station Boo. We are super excited today because we're going to be talking about an amazing book that we read that is Vanishing Daughters by Cynthia Pelayo. So let's get spooky. Hey Horrorholics, it's Shannon. Earth Station Boo has just launched its brand new merch store. It's time to get your hands on some killer gear. From our fun logo shirts, cozy hoodies, Let's Get Spooky stickers, and Horrorholics Anonymous totes, there's something for every one of our lovely little ghouls. We offer our spooky designs on many different types of products to fit your desires. But if you happen to see a missed opportunity, just let us know. And unlike most of Stephen King's adaptations, you know what I'm talking about, you won't be disappointed with the quality of the products. Head over to our link tree in our bio, grab your merch, show off your favorite horror podcast, and most of all, let's get spooky.
Hey Leah, you know what else is great? This promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
Wait, Sean, this is our promo for our podcast.
Whether you're at home, commuting, or simply taking a break, we have some interesting coffee tales to share with you.
With each episode, we share
movie reviews, travel tales, relationships, pop culture, thrifting, and tons more.
We always have a fresh pot brewing for you right here on the Have Coffee Will Travel podcast.
Alrighty, welcome back, y'all. We are now going to be talking about Vanishing Daughters by Cynthia Pelayo. Interesting, I think, is going to be a very good word for it at this point. I did watch a few different interviews with her, and I'm going to give you kind of like a summary, and this is based off of what she said in both of these interviews on like the summary for the book itself. Okay, it's going to be a blend of modern fairy tale, true crime, mystery, and supernatural horror. You have Pelayo's Vanishing Daughters following a character called Brier Rose Thorn, who lives in a crumbling mansion in Chicago's South Side that was her ancestral home that she inherited from her recently deceased mother. Her family's wealth came from the old school radios. Brier is struggling horribly with her mother's passing, intense waves of grief with visual and auditory hallucinations. She is a freelance health journalist. She started researching the murders of 51 women in the South Side of Chicago, where she ends up getting a little too close to the serial killer who has taken interest in her. Dun dun dun. Oh. So, with all of that being said, this was a book Karen recommended us to review. She was really excited about it. Like, she was months before it even released. She was like, "We got to do this book." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, if you're that adamant about it, let's do it. Like, I don't even care what the premise is. We'll do it. You're like head on this one. So I'll let you go ahead and start with your initial thoughts, Karen.
Okay, so I was really excited about this book until I started reading it, and I was like, I can't get into this book.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, like the premise is really good because it has like the true crime and the serial killer and all that. And I started reading it, and I was like, I have to reread paragraphs twice.
Mm.
or 3 times. I had to reread pages again. This is not this is not for me.
I understand
Yeah.
that. I understand that.
That being said, the premise is really great. I
Mm-hmm.
just couldn't get into it. I had actually a better time listening to the news while I was reading the book.
Oof. Oof. That's not good.
No, it was not.
All
Yeah.
righty. Lisa, how about you? What are your initial thoughts on this book?
Okay. I really liked the premise. The premise was good. It was a little hard to get into, but I pushed through it. It was a little chaotic for me, but lots of really good ideas. I
Mm-hmm.
think it needed to be more cohesive. I love the idea of the premise of the book, and there were some good parts. So
Yeah. I would be interested to see this turn into like a mini series
mhm,
because I
mhm.
think if they turned it into a mini series, like a lot of like the premise of the book could be executed really well and maybe better than the book itself. This book does touch on grief. It touches on generational trauma. It talks about a lot of aspects of life that are a little difficult, and it kind of goes into the psychological side of it. And so you're having to sit there and like you get to see the inner workings of somebody who's going through a lot of that stuff. There are parts of it where like the monologues go a little too long, in my opinion, where it was like, I get it, I get it, but I feel like you could have said all of that in half of what was written and still gotten the point across. It was a harder book for me to get through than some other ones, but because I like had the idea of like, okay, here's like the premise, I think I was anticipating more than what was in there. And I think I kind of wanted a little bit more of certain aspects because I'm like, this is the premise, this is what should be happening. And so yeah. But we'll get into it all. We'll get into it all. Like, it's not a bad read, but I wanted more. Well, according to Karen, it is a bad read. I got the look. I got the look, guys. First and foremost, this story definitely, I mean, just the title characters, or not the title character, but the main character's name being Brier Rose Thorn. This is obviously a modern twist on Sleeping Beauty. And we all know the Disney tale. The
Yeah.
real one is super fucked up. Super
Mhm.
fucked up. And I will say, if you read this book, you will hear multiple versions of the fairy tale because she does like actually explain it in the book and gives like little segments of the fairy tale. So if you're not familiar with the real ones, you'll hear them throughout the book. But how does this classic Sleeping Beauty fairy tale play with that, like this modern narrative about this character, and like how do you guys feel like it worked for the story? Lisa, you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. I mean, I saw the connection with the family and everything. And, you know, I like the fact that, her mom's name was Aurora and all that kind of stuff. And the gift she got of her. But, I don't know. It was connected, but it wasn't. It was very loosely. I mean, all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff that the mom did with the saving the books and all that, and the liminal space going on and everything. It did an okay job, but it was nice to hear the history and some of the other versions of the story. I'll tell you that. So, as
Okay.
it was connected to the family.
Yeah. Yeah. Karen, how about you?
Mm, yeah. Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, like so, we've all heard the Sleeping Beauty, versions, the multiple versions,
Mm-hmm.
the nice and cuddly version, and the whoo, he needs to be charged with rape.
Yeah.
Ooh. In a way, you see the connections that the book is trying to make because,
Mm-hmm.
you have your killer prince person collecting all these sleeping beauties that he's making. And I'm like, wow, you have 51 victims. How are you going uncaptured? And then I realized that happens in real life. That happens in real life.
Yeah.
But
Actually, the reason why it's 51 is because there are 51 unsolved murders of women in Chicago that Chicago is refusing to look into, and they all died of similar ways.
Huh.
And that's why she used that specific number.
that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Very.
I might have to look into that because I love true crime. So,
Great.
but yeah, it's very, loose,
Yeah.
based together, the story and the main story and your fairy tale story. I see the connection, but for me, the connection falls flat.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you on that. It is very loose, and I'm using my air quotes, loosely based off of Sleeping Beauty. It has a lot of elements that are connected and are the same, but I feel like one of the biggest things about the Sleeping Beauty tale were the fairies. And not just Maleficent, but like the good fairies as well. And I feel like that was what was missing in this book, the lack of the fairies. This book, it teetered on supernatural. It had elements throughout, but it didn't sit in the supernatural. There was just enough elements that it should have sat in supernatural and not is it not kind of thing. I wish that she would have gone a little bit deeper with of connecting Sleeping Beauty by having more fairies.
Yeah.
Or having more like that magical connection.
Right.
If that makes sense.
You can have a dark horror fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it.
Yeah.
It kind of fell flat in here. I was like, I was expecting really that. And I was like,
And to be honest, I didn't go into it thinking that it was going to be like fairy tale fairy magic kind of thing. I thought it was going to be kind of like there's certain people who play certain roles in the fairy tale story, and like she was just going to make it a more modern take but use like actual people. But then like there was just enough supernatural elements where I'm like, could you either need to go full on supernatural or
push it,
take it all out. Like
exactly.
Push it a little bit more.
Like it was just a little too much supernatural for a like what is it, crime horror versus
right.
Not enough supernatural to be a supernatural horror. It was like you need one or the other. You need to go. You were too lukewarm on this. But the story does take place in Chicago, and this author is very fond of Chicago and uses it in a lot of her works. How do we feel, or in what ways does the city of Chicago function as more than just a setting for this novel, while it incorporates a lot of the local history to the story?
I mean, for the city of Chicago, it's not just a setting. It's actually like its own, I want to say its own person.
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
A character in its own right.
It's a character in the story because you get to hear the history about the murders, about everything, and in a way, it impacts the story because if you don't know anything about Chicago, this will give you a little taste of Chicago because Chicago does have a lot of murders,
a lot
of murders, and I looked into that 51, and it mostly is like 51 African American women. And I think the reason why is not going solved is because it's African American women, and most crime dealing with African American women are kind of falling to the wayside. Guarantee you, if it was like 51, I hate to say it, white women, there would be a lot of pressure going on.
Or even white men.
Or white men. Well, there is that smiley face killer with a lot of men. Still haven't solved that one yet.
Yeah, but it's not from a lack of trying.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I appreciate the Chicago part because, you look at it not just as a setting, as most people would look at it. I look at it as a person telling its own story.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
I can definitely agree with that. I completely agree with Karen there because it does feel like Chicago's an entity of itself
Mm-hmm.
and it's telling its own stories about itself. It's not so much that she's telling the stories, it's more like Chicago is telling the stories.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that element a little bit.
I really enjoyed how she wrote about Chicago and how she tied in so many things that are Chicago based, like the World's Fair, H.H. Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
some of the different urban legends that she spoke about, like the one highway chick that people would pick up, and like there's just a lot of different things that she talked about that I'm like, oh, I know that from being a Chicago thing. Granted, I'm down here in Florida, so like all of that kind of stuff is like me like watching like a here's, urban legends from across the US, and then they talk about like here's their Chicago episode, and they just, go in and talk about all the weird stuff in Chicago. Or like the one time when I had my hyperfixation on H.H. Holmes. Uh,
I mean, who hasn't? Who hasn't?
I know, right?
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 I mean, being coined the first serial killer kind of, gives you a rap, that makes
I
you
mean,
interesting.
you also have the other murderers, serial killers, like John Wayne Gacy, who was in
Mm-hmm.
that area.
Yeah.
And then there was like that one famous thrill kill case, Leopold and Loeb
Yeah.
took place over
Yeah.
there. So yeah, it's so Chicago in this function was its own person telling its own stories. Like, hey, this is about me. Let's
Yeah.
look past the murders, really, but that's what makes me unique.
And I will say this also, the way that she used the history of like, okay, Archer Street, here's the tale about that. Here's where it starts, here's what it ends, here's what it goes through, here's why it's significant. And here's what, and here's all the weird things that have happened along this road. And it gives you an appreciation because those are the parts I think she wrote really well. And those were the parts that I kind of found really interesting to like sit and listen to or to read and be like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like I didn't think about it like that. Or, oh, that's kind of cool that they have that aspect to the city. So it was a living character in the book, and it made you want you wanted to know more about it. It was something that you wanted to engage with.
And it kind of reminds me of a podcast that I like to listen to called The Murder Mile,
Mm-hmm.
where this guy walks this he basically talks about all the murders that happens in this one little street. It's 1 mile, every
Mm-hmm.
single one. It's like, so this is what happened in 1800, and this is what over here, right here. And I was like,
Cool.
yeah, he dresses the part and he goes. It's like
Oh
this
wow.
this is what happened in like this area. They found the body, and let me tell you the story. And that's what I kind of liked about it. I was like, oh, that kind of like that little tidbit reminds me of this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. What role do you guys think the urban legends, such as the Vanishing Hitchhiker and all that kind of stuff, played into the development of this story? Do you guys think it helped it? Did you think it distracted from it? Do you like how it was married in the whole nine? Lisa, do you want to start?
Yeah. I think it helped the character develop a little bit more, Brier,
Mm-hmm.
because she was such a non-believer at first, but I think because of her just starting to engage in more of the history and everything, and these legends started waking her up a little bit to what she was dealing with and helping her a little bit with her grief.
Huh?
So it's like, oh, it's like a distraction. Oh, the Vanishing Hitchhiker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's not thinking about all the crazy stuff that's going on. She's actually starting to do the research because she's a writer, and it's helping her heal a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think since she lived in that area, she should know about the vanishing girl, Mary. So I'm like, that really did not have any impact for me. I'm like, you know about the urban legend. Why is it important
Well,
now?
she learned about her familiar connection.
True, but at the same time, I was kind of like,
Okay.
I didn't much care for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Winchester. I mean, at some point, I was expecting the Winchesters to come in. I'm like, yeah, let's get some action. No, there's no action.
Right?
Right.
Again, it was part of the why didn't you go harder on that? It
Mhm.
was it was almost like there was again, like it was lukewarm. It wasn't it was too much supernatural to work with a story, and it was not enough supernatural to work with a story. And it almost felt like it was something that didn't need to be added if you had the Sleeping Beauty thing. It's it's this weird blend of, like I said at the beginning, it's a blend of fairy tale and true crime and mystery and supernatural horror. And it's one of those, it's too much altogether in one story. And I think it kind of detracted a little bit. Granted, yeah, it gave her like a way through for kind of moving through her grief and bringing somebody home to like lay a soul to rest, but at the same time, like it just there needed to be more of it, or it needed to be taken out.
Okay. Don't give me a taste. Give me the buffet.
There you go. I don't want a bite. I want a full meal.
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. You kind of touched on her grief process, Lisa. How do we think her experience of grief influenced her perception with reality and the supernatural events that she encountered? There was like a lot of things like she's like, I never experienced these things, and now I'm in the midst of this massive grief cycle with my mother passing, and I'm all of a sudden, hearing things and seeing things that just aren't there, that my roommate don't see, that my dog is not reacting to. How do you feel about all of that?
First off, animals tend to react to supernatural stuff before
Yeah, they do.
anybody else. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm. So when she's talking about, all this, I'm like, so are you schizophrenic?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this what's happening? You're young. Because,
Yeah.
late, late stage schizophrenia tends to happen. But I know she's working through her grief because I worked through my grief because
Mm-hmm.
when my dad died. But the thing is, I'm also sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So a part of me, when I was working through that grief, it's like my sensitivity shut off because my body knew I could not handle everything,
Both at the
caught up
same time.
everything at the
Yeah.
same time. And I'm like, so your grief opened up your gift? Wow, that's cool. But
Mm-hmm.
why isn't your animals, the birds, the cats, the dogs, why aren't they experiencing supernatural
Yeah.
stuff too?
Yeah. I also I also find that I don't like the fact that her dog ended up liking the serial killer villain.
Better.
Yeah.
Dogs know
Exactly.
better. Yes, exactly. So I was like, her dog would not have liked him.
It's like,
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
so are you saying he's actually a really good, genuine person, even though he's killing people? What?
What?
yeah. Yeah, I don't
Mm.
I, I had issues with that. But
For me, it was like, I think she has schizophrenia. I'm, I'm going schizophrenic.
understandable, understandable. Lisa, how about you?
Okay. I think I can see how it might have triggered her gift because she wasn't sleeping. It seemed like she was in and out of liminal spaces. I think they could have explained that a little bit more because the
Mhm.
house absorbed all the energy from her mom. And I agree with you though. That dog should have sent something. I thought
Mhm.
at first it was going to send something at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not paying attention to anything. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That was very odd, and I agree with you. That dog would not have liked her. No, no. It would have
Yeah.
been like, no, I don't think so. She'd probably be having to fill out a report because it bit him or something.
Mhm.
But I think she became sensitive because she was lack of sleep. She was, in and out of liminal spaces, and then learning about all these urban legends, which she should have known about. I think the whole was a catalyst, but I did think she was a little schizophrenic at times, as much as she was talking to herself and yelling. Oh my God. She
Mhm.
went on and on and on and on. That was a little irritating for me.
Yeah.
Are we sure she's not schizophrenic? Are we sure? Come on.
I mean,
Could be.
I have seen people who end up like that in their grief cycles. And it's hard. It's extremely hard when you're grieving somebody that you truly love and care for, and it can make just menial things like eating and sleeping extremely difficult. Cynthia talked about in one of the interviews how when she was writing some of this, she had lost her father and she was going through a grieving process with her dad, and that she's like, I never had night terrors before. And she goes, I would just wake up screaming. She's like, I don't even remember what my dream was about, but I would just wake up just screaming. And then having to talk to my doctor about it. And they say, well, that's part of the grief cycle. Like, that's normal if if you're grieving. And she's like, how is that normal? Like, that shouldn't be normal. So I think this book was kind of a cathartic way for her to talk about her grieving and missing of her father. I can see it opening up her sensitivity to things going on around her. One, because there is that physical aspect of she's not taking care of herself and therefore, open to these other things. But then two, I think there is a mental aspect of it of where did my mom go when she passed? And what did my mom believe? Oh, she believed these things. So you could see how she would go from nothing to everything all at once because so many things kind of triggered, and like it's like almost like a circuit breaker where a whole bunch of the little knobs got switched and that weren't switched before. I think execution wise, her grief and its relation to what was happening to her in reality and supernatural wise, I think is a great thing. I do think there were aspects that could have been executed better. Like a lot of her monologues and things like that were, it's one thing to say it, but it was like almost like on repeat. And it didn't need to be on repeat. Yeah. Moving on to the societal portion of all of this, because the novel obviously addresses societal fears regarding violence against women. So, like the 51 women that we talked about earlier. And it offers a lot of commentary on abusive relationships and putting yourself in bad situations and things like that. How do we feel about how it addressed all of those?
It makes a point on, what happens in real life towards women and violence. It's like women get the short end of the stick. Because if you're a certain way, it is almost expected that, okay, I say how to put this. Drug addicts and prostitutes, if they get murdered or abused, it's like the police don't care. Society doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right.
If you are an upstanding citizen, they kind of care.
Yeah.
To a extent. If if your partner is like a police officer or somebody who's higher up in society, it kind of gets swept underneath the rug, sometimes. So this fear that, these 51 women disappearing, murdered, and no one is actively or they're actively trying to solve it. It speaks volumes because of the fact that it happens in real life. I mean, you have Native American women who go disappearing all the time and no one's talking about it. You have Hispanic women or children that disappear and no one's talking about it. Even now, there's several. I don't want to know. I don't remember the statistics on how many women disappear, or how many young children disappear a day. But it speaks to our present day happenings, and it's very sad. It really is very sad that this book goes on, tells about these young ladies. Police aren't doing anything, and then you look at our society in real life, and you're like, what can we do to stop it or to hinder the numbers? And there's no clear answer because what can you do?
Yeah. In 2020, females under 21, there was a total of 209,375 missing persons reports.
That's amazing.
And that was just in 2020.
Yeah.
Overall, and I think this is according to a 2022 report, it's roughly 2,300 Americans are reported missing every day. And that doesn't have a specifics on male, female, age, or anything like that. Although it does note that a significant portion of these are women and young girls.
Scary.
Yep. Yes, it is. Look, I mean, just look at the characters themselves. You had Brier and was her roommate Emily, I think. Emily. When Brier and Emily went on their day of fun and encountered like a strange man, like the things that they talked about, like, I can't believe like you're making me go out in the middle of nowhere without any protection. And does anybody else know that we're out here? There was all these things that they were saying that I'm like, yeah, why did you not tell your friends where you're going? Are you not sharing your locations? What is going on here? Like, it's all stuff that like women have to think about.
Yeah.
Gerald's game.
Yeah, exactly.
That is why I tell you guys where I'm going hiking all the time whenever I go. She's over here.
Yeah. Like if you don't like drop any photos by the end of the day or the next day, I'm like, you good? Are you alive, Lisa?
Hey, Lisa, where are you? We're coming to get you.
But I think she does hit the nail on the head, especially like even with the way that the police interacted with Brier. Like at first they were very dismissive of her, very like
always.
They're like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you're good. You're fine. Like, whatever, maybe you just need to go get some sleep or, oh, you're just grieving. I called you for a reason. Like,
don't be hysterical.
Like, calm
down, ma'am. Calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll calm down when you start doing your job.
Are you on your period?
Yeah. And it just, yeah, I hated those cops in that book. They were. We've kind of already talked about it, about how we think there's maybe a little too much going on in the book. But let's talk about the blend of genres and everything and the overall tone / messaging of the novel. What are our thoughts on it? Like, what did we love? What did we hate? What do we think she could have done better? What did she kind of nail?
It's okay to blend genres. Yeah. Because, a lot of things now is not straight romance, straight horror, straight, it's just that she was lacking in some areas. You can make this a supernatural horror. I mean, I like the true crime portion, but the supernatural part, I don't, give me more, give me substance. I love the true crime part.
Yeah.
Because, true crime is my passion.
Yeah.
But I wanted more of the supernatural. I wanted more of the fairy tale. I wanted, give me that. Give me that supernatural horror that I know is there, because true crime is horror in itself.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa?
I agree. I think when you mix genres, they're really good and they work together. This was so loose and kind of chaotic that you jump here and then you jump here and then the monologues. And I was really hoping we'd get a little bit into the supernatural with the liminal spaces and stuff. And when he started talking about that one, the gateway process, which I was like, ooh, I looked that up, by the way. I had to look at it. So I'm probably now on the CIA list. Oh, she's looking at that. But
I'm sure we're all on somebody's list already.
We are definitely. But anyway, the serial killer, I think he fell kind of flat when it came to what he did to the victims. Not that I want to hear this horrible things, but it was just kind of surface.
Yeah.
It's like I felt like it was imitating Dexter, but not really had that whole emotional. It just didn't feel like he was connected to his victims, like some
it was serial killer
are.
light.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the best way to describe it, is serial killer light. And I'm like, oh, this is boring.
Because most serial killers have some sort of want or connection to their victim.
Mm-hmm.
Like their victim represents something
Yeah.
to them.
And it felt like that she was regurgitating everything that we already know, how they like to be involved in the process and all that. Mm-hmm. Well, at least the people like me and Karen who love our true crime, and we're like, yeah, okay, I know that. Tell me what it is. Tell me more about the trophies. Tell me. Yeah. I just, it was definitely serial killer light. I would have liked more substance. It was just a little too chaotic on all the ends for me of the genres.
Yeah.
It could have been so much more cohesive.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with I think she had too much going on at once.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to mix too many things. She was trying to mix the urban legends with the fairy tales, with this, the serial killer and the true crime and the grief cycle and the social actual issues of women being disappearing and all that. It was just, she was pulling things from so many directions and it just wasn't weaving together in a way that worked.
And this is why you need an editor that says, hey.
Mm-hmm. Hey. Yeah. Not that, like, it was also for me a shorter read. Like, I think she could have also, like, if she had taken some stuff out and added more stuff, like, there were chapters that were only about from like the serial killer's point of view. Had she gone more in depth on those chapters or added like another couple chapters where you did develop the character a little bit more, maybe he talks about his dad, which ends up being H.H. Holmes, but like, what about his mom? Could you have talked about how his mom was quote unquote Maleficent? And then like, maybe shown like more of that, of like history and development of this character. He was just very one note and just kind of blah. Even in his chapters, you're like, oh, okay, cool. He's H.H. Holmes' kid who he raised to be a serial killer, and he seems to kind of be immortal. Okay, cool, but like, that's it.
Yeah, it's like how and why. I'm like,
you're like,
how can he move through those spaces?
So he got trained by this dude, and he knew that he wasn't like human, but like give us more. I need more. There's just a lot missing from it all. Like the true crime side of it, like, she talked about Mary, she talked about a few of the other different like things and the characters, but it wasn't. Again, it was surface level. It was very much like okay, like, yeah, we're talking about this, but like, we're not digging deep into it, and we're not making like firm connections on it all. Which again, like, if you had gone deeper on Homeboy's chapters, you could have gotten more depth on the true crime side of it, considering that was his thing. Great ideas, just not executed to the extent that I think I would have personally liked.
Is it bad that I didn't care that he was H.H. Holmes' son? I was like, I would rather have him as a descendant, not an immortal.
Well, I mean, the way he said it was that he was just kind of like dropped off with H.H. Holmes, and then like he tried killing him, it didn't work, so he fired. H.H. was like, obviously like not normal. Well, let me teach you my ways, young grasshopper. Like,
yeah, I didn't much care for
that. But again, it was very like very light, very surface level. You didn't get any depth. Like, had like there'd been a chapter where, as he's like maybe watching Brier from a distance, he reminisces about like how his dad like took him on a hunt or something like that and kind of like taught him the ways, but actually like went in depth about like, this is why we do it this way. This is, like, I don't know, just gone further in, I might have liked it better and liked that connection more. Or even maybe instead of making it a descendant, maybe make it a reincarnation.
Yeah, that'd be probably better.
Yeah.
This is like he himself is the embodiment of the curse being fulfilled. And so he is this thing that is supposed to always go after the daughter of the daughter. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
And so like HH was one version, and now this guy was another version, and yeah.
The crime part was, pretty good. It's just that needed something more.
Yeah. Was there anything that you ladies wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on yet?
I could not get into the book.
Mm-hmm.
I had to reread sections, and I was like, I mean, I do like the whole fairy tale aspect of it.
Yeah.
But when she's going into the grieving process and repeats herself,
yeah,
it kind of like wears on you.
It does. It does.
Yes.
I mean, I like monologues, but
the monologue needs to be progressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monologues, man. I mean, I love it. I mean, we did something on Bram Stoker, Dracula, and some of those monologues were like, you can really talk.
Yeah.
It progressed the story.
Yeah. I mean, even Mag Flanagan, we've talked about him and his monologues. Like, it's constantly progressive. And he's even said, like, when you feel like you've heard it before, you're going to start toning it out. And when you tone it out, you're done. Like, you've gone too far. So,
yeah, I was done.
So with all of that, let's go ahead, wrap this up. Let's give our full final thoughts, hopes and dreams for this and or the author, and everything, and then our skull ratings. Karen, would you like to go first?
It is a modge podge of stuff that it couldn't decide if it was like horror, true crime, supernatural fairy tale. The blending could have been a bit better. I heard she's a really good author. I mean, I might read one of her other books to get a feel for her, because this is a new novel. It's my first time reading her, and usually I read old works of authors before I get into their new stuff, because usually the old works tend to like tell me if I'm going to like them or not. But a little bit more buffet, a little less taste. Just give me the meal. Give me the meal.
Okay.
I'll have to because it didn't grab me and I had to force myself through it. I had to give it a 1 skull.
That's fair.
I don't like to force myself through stuff because it means
fair.
It's not fun.
Do you have any hopes for this as a piece of work? Like, would you want to see it done up as a mini series or a movie or anything like that?
A lot of other things. It makes more things cohesive. Like the killer. Give me a little bit more of the killer. Give me his backstory. I don't want to, make him want his victims. Make him interested in his victims. I'm not hunting for hunting's sake.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I'm going after these women.
Yeah.
Most serial killers go after a certain type of people because,
mommy issues.
Mommy issues. Most of the time
Daddy
it's mommy issues. Most of the time it's mommy issues, though.
Yeah.
It's some sort
the
of
occasional
female,
daddy issues.
It's some sort of female issue, which is kind of bad.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because most serial killers have like that whole female issue, and you're like,
Yep.
So give me a little bit of substance of the killer. Because I wanna feel for the killer. I want to feel his feelings. I want to hear his thoughts. I want to hear everything. I don't want one side of the spectrum. Yeah, I hear you, Bree. But let's talk about this dude.
Yeah.
Your book, he's in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be good as a mini series if they fleshed it out. flesh some things out.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it on AMC. AMC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see it being a Netflix or like some type of streaming app. Hulu might even be able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, they do have a really good, horror movie section.
Yeah.
Horror section.
Yeah.
And their true
they do.
crime isn't half bad either.
No, it's not.
So, Lisa, how about you?
Okay. Great ideas. It's like a whole bunch of ideas that have come together. Not as cohesive as I wanted it. It was a little ADHD, and the monologues were like ever. I would have loved to see more of the serial killer's background, like Garrett was saying. I wanted to feel for him. I just didn't connect with him. I give it a 2.5 because I know how you have a bad editor or whatever, things can go awry. I think a lot had to do with the editing too. She may have been rushed. I'm going to give her the sympathy of that. I think for hopes for this, I would like to see it as a little mini series, maybe on Hulu or something. It might come together better, to be honest. So 2.5 skulls. Yeah.
I would give it a 2.5, maybe a 3, depending on the day, I guess. With how generous I want to be. I will say listening to it did make it easier than reading it. I found the chapters that I read were a little harder to get through versus listening. I was able to listen to the chapters a little bit easier. So that might be a solvent for some of the book. But it too much going on at once, and it's just too shallow. I needed a little bit more of something. Not everything, like just go harder on one specific side of it all. It was just too bland throughout the entire thing. Like I don't know, I just needed more from it.
Connection to any of the people in the story.
I mean, the fact that like I had a hard time remembering her roommate's name, like that says something. I mean, even the whatchamacallit, even the villain, like the serial killer, like it takes me a second to remember what his name is in the book.
I just call him the killer.
Yeah, Isaac.
I think so.
Isaac, yeah, Isaac's his name. But like she has a boyfriend. Do any of us remember the boyfriend's name?
Derek.
We're together for a year.
Yeah, they were together for a year.
Derek, and he was.
I thought his name started with a C.
Oh, I might be wrong.
See, and that's the thing. Like, we're all sitting here going, I think it was this. Like,
I remember
I know he was a paramedic.
Yeah. Him and Emily worked together and are paramedics. That's all we remember.
Yeah.
I remember Bree because her name is Brier. I'm like, that's a unique name.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it ties with the whole Sleeping Beauty thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just not enough of anything and a little too much, or not even too much of anything. Like, it was just not enough of anything. And Cynthia, if you hear this, I just want you to pick something and go with it. Like,
exactly.
Like, you want to do supernatural horror? Go all the way. Just full bore. You want to make this a true crime horror? Great, do it. Full steam ahead. But like, pick something and go with it. The blend was a little sloppy and a little too light to really hold anything. I do think it would make a great miniseries or movie, especially if whoever ends up writing the screenplay can really like adapt it and go a little bit more in depth and go a little bit bigger in a lot of the different areas of the book that
Flanagan.
I was thinking it. I was really thinking it. Like, if anybody can do it, it'd be Mike Flanagan.
We all were thinking it. I was just trying not to say it.
Just jumped out of my mouth.
I mean, Homeboy, if that was the case, Homeboy's list would be like a mile long and he'd never get any of them done, you know? But if you want something that, even though it does touch on darker things, is still kind of on the light side and kind of can be a passive read or listen, I go for it. But if you want depth, if you want something that's a little bit more cohesive, if you want something that's really going to pull you into the story, this might not be the book for you. But I am interested to see what she develops next. And, you know, I can see what her vision was at the beginning. So, our lovely little ghouls, have you read this book? Or have you read any other of Cynthia's books? Please let us know. Come talk to us in the social media web section of everything. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, our Facebook group. We've got a Blue Sky account. We try to stay up on all of those things, so please come chit chat with us. You can also subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts like Apple, Google, Spotify, and of course YouTube, where you can always leave comments and we do chit chat back. So come chit chat with us. Ladies, though, where can they find you so they can chat with you? Lisa?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads for now.
Alrighty. Karen, how about you?
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit.
Alrighty, and I am Shannon. You can find me on all the things at Spill Tea Wine Media Mind. And before we go, like always, thank you. We cannot express how much we love our fellow horrorholics on here, and every like, share, listen, it means the world to us. So thank you so very much. Hope you guys have an amazing time. So stay spooky, our lovely little ghouls.
And this has been the Spooky and Kooky podcast of Earth Station Boo.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.